So, what if I told you the secret to being phenomenal at sales has pretty much nothing to do with selling at all? That's the big, kind of radical idea at the center of Alex Smith's book, Discover Phenomenal. And just so you know, this isn't your typical sales guide. Think of it more like a roadmap for a much more authentic way to connect with people, one that takes us way past ordinary and into a whole new way of thinking about relationships, not just in business, but, in life.
Everything kicks off with this one simple question. This is the question that completely changed how the author saw, well, everything. It's not about what you want to sell them. It's about how you want to impact them, on a human level. Just this one question completely shifts the goal from a simple transaction to a real, genuine connection. So just think about that for a second. How do you want to leave someone feeling?
And this really shows you the two different worlds, doesn't it? Over on the left, you've got the old way of doing things. High pressure, all about the quotas, just pitching, pitching, pitching. The author actually lived this. He was making 400 auto-dialed calls a day. Can you even imagine? And then on the right, you've got the phenomenal approach. It's all about connecting, guiding, building trust. It's a total shift from trying to manipulate someone to actually building a relationship.
So where did this whole new path even come from? Well, it wasn't cooked up in some fancy training session, that's for sure. The author's journey really began after he completely hit rock bottom. We're talking jobless, sleeping on a friend's sofa. And it was that moment that forced him to stop just sprinting through life and finally ask some really tough questions like, what am I actually about? What kind of impact do I really want to make? This quote from the book it nails it. Real growth, that deep self-discovery, it didn't happen in the middle of all the hustle and chaos. No, it only started when everything stopped. It was in that quiet, that darkness, when the real answers started to bubble up. And that's where the whole phenomenal concept was born. Okay, so we've kind of covered the why behind this whole journey. But now let's get into the how. How do you actually start walking this path? The book makes it super clear that it doesn't start with learning new sales tactics or memorizing scripts. Nope, it starts with some deep internal work. It all begins with you. This right here, this is the absolute heart of the book's philosophy. The idea is you can't really master sales until you master yourself. And when you think about it, that is such a radical idea compared to most sales training, which is all about figuring out the customer. This just flips the script completely and says, hey, let's look in the mirror first. You've got to understand your own patterns before you can even begin to understand someone else's. So really, the book is designed to do two main things. First, it's about mixing your personal development with your professional development. It's about figuring out who you are and how you show up. And second, it gives you a super practical step-by-step framework that you can actually go out and use. It's this perfect blend of the inner work and the outer strategy. Now, a really huge piece of this journey is realizing you can't and you shouldn't do it all by yourself. The book lays out this awesome framework for building your own personal support system. It's all about being intentional about who you surround yourself with, finding the people who are actually going to help you grow. This is your own personal board of directors, basically your personal dream team for growth. You need a coach for their wisdom, a champion, to be your biggest cheerleader when you can't be, a role model to prove what's even possible, an anchor to keep you grounded in who you are, and then there's the challenger, and this one is so important. That's the person who isn't afraid to push you and help you see your own blind spots. It's about creating a full 360-degree support system for yourself. All right, so once you've started that inner work and you've built your support team, the focus then shifts to how you actually interact with other people. And that brings us to this core philosophy of trust over tactics, which basically redefines the entire goal of a sale. The book boils sales down to this incredibly simple but really powerful equation. It's just trust plus results. That's it. It's not about closing the deal at all costs. It's simply about being who you say you are and then delivering on what you promise. Trust is the foundation you build on, and the results are the proof. When you get both of those right, that's when you have something truly phenomenal. And of course, this famous quote from Maya Angelou is in the book, and for a really good reason. It's the emotional core of that whole trust plus results idea. It brings us right back to the very first question we started with. Because think about it, long after you've forgotten the details of a conversation, what do you remember? You remember how that person made you feel. That's the impact that lasts. And all of this leads us to the final and maybe the most important transformation in the whole process. After you've done the self-discovery, after you've focused on building trust, your role in the whole process it gets completely redefined. You go from being a seller to becoming something else entirely. For the longest time, salespeople have been taught to be the hero of the story, right? You're the one who's supposed to swoop in with the perfect solution and save the day. But Discover Phenomenal argues that this whole mindset it's fundamentally flawed. It puts all the focus on you instead of on them. And here is the big shift. This is the whole thing. Your true role isn't to be the hero, it's to be the guide. The customer is the hero of their own story. You are the trusted advisor, the one who gives them the map, the tools, the wisdom to help them get where they need to go. Your job is to empower them to become their own hero. So the path is all laid out for you. It starts with that first powerful question about feeling, and it leads all the way to this final transformation into becoming a guide. It's a journey past the ordinary way of doing things and into a much more authentic, real way of connecting. So the only question that's left is the one you see right here. What's your first step?